Right. Good morning. This is the matter of ZA the elder, ZA the younger, SA the elder, SA the younger, and EZ or EA. Case numbers are present in the virtual courtroom. We have mother's attorney, Ms. Coletti. We have father's attorney, Mr. Adams. We have the children's attorney, Ms. Newhouse. We have a couple of agency workers, as well as the foster parent. And it's my understanding that Ms. Coletti has a motion before we begin. Ms. Coletti.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I had a contact with Mariah Ackland this morning. She called me to let me know that she was going in for surgery. She called me around 9 o'clock. She did not receive notice because her mail goes to her mother's address, and she did not receive the notice from her mother. And because of the fact that she's currently in surgery, I would respectfully request to adjourn this permissive planning hearing.
Thank you. Ms. Newhouse.
Well, I would object. I would prefer to go forward. We've got 5 children here with special needs. I'd like to review that. I don't know about her mail, but that's her responsibility. She was at the last hearing. She would have gotten notice, a verbal notice at that time of when this was, and could have checked in. Probably was told by her mother, her caseworker, various people about when this was. Ms. Eklund has had numerous medical issues throughout this, and I did ask for some sort of, not that I don't trust Ms. Coletti, I did ask for some sort of verification regarding what medical procedure she was getting today and wasn't able to attend. I'd prefer that we go forward and perhaps set the next hearing a little sooner than we normally would. Thank you.
Mr. Adams.
On behalf of Mr. Eklund, I take no position, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. The court finds that there's not good cause to adjourn today's hearing, particularly given the fact that after reviewing prior hearings, that it appears that Ms. Eklund has a history of being requested to provide verification of various claims, particularly regarding health claims, and has not complied with providing that verification, and frankly, also due to the late request this morning. So the court denies that request for an adjournment. All right, Ms. Newhouse.
Thank you. I'd like to call Jordan Morrison, please. Your Honor, I have 5 exhibits, and I've given that list to the attorneys. Proposed exhibit 1 would be the case service plan, report date January 30, 2025. Exhibit 2 would be the Family Outreach Center diagnostic evaluation. Date completed was December 23/24, and that would be on Mrs. Eklund. 3 would be, there's 2 sheets, attendance sheets or non-attendance sheets for forensic fluids, and then there's 3 forensic fluids attached. 1 collected 1/16, 1 collected 1/13, and 1 collected 2/16 of last year. And then we have some foster care supportive visitation and in-home parent education reports. I think there's 8. I've attached them as a packet as the next exhibit and would move for the admission of those.
Any objection?
Objection.
No objection.
All right, they're all admitted.
Thank you. Okay, let's start with the children. ZA, Elder ZA is 7. He also goes by Spider-Man. I found out last night. How is he doing?
He is doing really well. He currently has an IEP in school, and he is taking the prescribed clonidine medication to help him fall asleep at night. We are in the process of getting an autism assessment for him to complete, and that's scheduled for the end of this month. And we are hopefully those recommendations from that assessment will help him in school further. We are also, he loves superheroes like Spider-Man and also Captain America. He's also really into Sonic the Hedgehog. He and the eldest SA, they will sit there and watch Sonic the Hedgehog all day if you let them. I will also mention that he has a really good relationship with the rest of his siblings. They do seem to get along, and he's actually even helpful at the dinner table. I've noticed, kind of helping pick up food, or even like showing his other siblings how to eat a certain type of food. The other day they had these kind of bigger meatball subs, and he kind of showed one of the younger siblings how to eat that. So he's doing really well.
Good. And he responds well to his grandmother, who is the custodian currently, correct?
Correct.
Good. And younger, ZAA, she is 6. How's she doing?
She's doing well. She does seem to have more difficulties in school. She does also have an IEP, and she is also scheduled to get an autism assessment at the end of this month. We in school, it sounds like the transition periods between classes are her biggest areas of need. She has also been reported to leave the classroom, and this has become kind of a safety issue with the school. And I'm planning to talk to the school about this, but it sounds like she does when she leaves the classroom. There is a period of time where she is kind of wandering the halls by herself, and the teacher will call the school or call the front office after she leaves the classroom. And then there's that time period in between where they're going and looking for her, and she's just kind of in the school. So she does seem to get distracted and leave the school, and she also does get a little bit more aggressive during those transition periods between classes.
Okay, and how does she do in the home with her grandmother?
She's doing well in the home. She is very attached to the caregiver right now. I every time I see or every time I visit with them, I notice that she's very hugging and, you know, just kind of wants to be around the caregiver, or even me. She's very sociable.
Her younger sister, same thing. Both girls are extremely attached to their grandma, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
SA, he is 4. He graduated from speech. He no longer has to take speech, I hear.
Yes, very exciting. Even when I'm talking with him, I've noticed that his speech has greatly improved. I know that he is still going to school with his other 2 youngest siblings, and he also is very attached to the caregiver.
He was reading a book when I got there all by myself. And let's see, younger SA, she's 4. She just turned 4, right?
Yes, she just had a birthday.
Okay, and how's she doing?
She's doing well as well, or she's also doing well. She is if the best word for me to describe her is like this little sassy, energetic child. She's very outgoing. Whenever I visit with her, she's showing me her toys, what her hair is looking like that day, and kind of any colorful clothes she's got on. There have been no reports about her struggling in school or in the home, and she does get along with her siblings very well.
Okay, before I move on to the youngest EA, all the kids are in school and daycare, correct? Okay. EA, he is 2.5. How's he doing?
He's doing well. He recently did get sick. And when I visited the last time I visited with him, he was just sleeping the entire time. So he's been kind of dealing with that, but it sounds like he's been getting better. In my conversations with him, he doesn't talk very much. He likes to show me a lot of his toys. And I have not had any concerns about his behaviors in school or in the home.
Okay, and he, Grandma tells me he needs his tonsils out probably, but they're gonna wait a little bit until he's 3 at least.
Yes, so from my understanding, it's not an emergency for him to get these tonsils removed. They had concerns that they were large, and that they would cause problems later in life, and that's why they want to get those removed.
Right. Okay. And there's been a discussion. We had an FTM. There was some discussion about the boys. I don't know all of them, or just some of them possibly getting circumcised, and so that airway, if that's involving EA, needs to be clear so that he's able to do even something like that. Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So overall, they're all doing well and progressing, just like they were last quarter. A lot of progression with the children.
Correct.
Okay, and the grandma tells me too that the boys have all gone up, not just one size in clothing, 2, and the shoes, same thing, and they're always dressed just, you know, really beautifully and everything. So we can tell they're at least growing physically, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the parents. Let's start with the father. Does he continue to reside in Kentucky?
Yes.
And has he ever signed the AOP for Elder ZA?
No.
Is that pretty much like in his corner now to try to do that and get that done?
Yes.
Do we have a worker even go down there or something and try to get that done?
The previous caseworker for the foster care case did go down there and attempt to help him get that signed, yes.
Okay, so currently he's unknown for the oldest child, unknown father.
Yes.
Okay, and is he working a treatment plan?
He is working a parent agency treatment plan, yes.
Okay, and what's he working on? What's he getting done?
So because he is currently living in Kentucky, it is difficult or I am currently helping him locate resources in his community and he will have to and he's expected to fund these himself since he is out of state. I have talked with him about, getting involved with mental health counseling services, and also I am talking with him about purchasing plane tickets that we have verified with WMPC that we can fund for him. It's just a matter of getting the plane tickets purchased and that weekend scheduled for him to come up and see the children in person. I have had some difficulties communicating with him. I have asked him when he is available to call, and then I will call and then he won't reply, or I'll send a text message and sometimes it takes me a little while to get a response. I also noticed that when I sent mail to him last month, January, it was sent back to me saying that the address was incorrect. And when I had asked him for his correct address, he had given me the same one. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what exactly the correct address is, or if I wrote something incorrectly, but yeah.
Is he employed?
Yes. I have not received verification of his employment, but he does report himself to work about 50 to 60 hours every week as a caterer.
What about housing? Does he have independent housing that he could have 5 children with him?
It sounds like his current living arrangement is he has one other roommate in the home, and he has not mentioned that the home is big enough for the children to reside there with him.
Okay, so there's ways that you could possibly assess that, maybe by Zoom or something, if he offered up that he had housing that was adequate for the children.
Yes.
Is he in a relationship at all with Mrs. Acklin anymore, or is that?
No.
Are they divorced?
They are still married, but they do not speak.
Okay. I think we discussed this a while ago in the case, and if that were her intent to do that, she needed to establish residency. I think we discussed that with her attorney, and so she's definitely established residency here. If she wanted to do a divorce, she could start that here, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So as far as he goes, you did any domestic violence stuff that he needs to do. He has to find that and has to fund that, correct?
Correct.
Has he made any progress in that area?
Not to my knowledge.
And he visits with the kids on Zoom at Ms. Kendrick's house?
Yes, every, I believe, Mondays and Fridays. And these have been reported to be pretty inconsistent. Sometimes he will call and then sometimes he will not.
Okay, at the last quarter, SA was refusing to talk to him. Is that still the case, or?
I have not heard any concerns regarding that, but I will mention that when I noticed him during the last reporting period, he was very adamant on not talking with Mr. Acklin.
Okay. And I would imagine that Ms. Kendrick has to corral the kids and get them in front of a screen, and that's probably not the easiest feat.
Yes, it typically looks like kind of passing the phone around just to each child.
Okay, they could perform a little and then pass it on to the next one. Yeah. All right. Anything else regarding the father? Is progress very minimal, then I would suggest?
Yes.
The mother, Ms. Eklund, First of all, she did, Judge Rossi wanted her to get that substance abuse assessment, and that was upcoming at our last hearing. She did get that done, is that correct?
Correct.
What were the findings of that?
The findings of that substance use assessment were that she should continue her mental health counseling services and to kind of incorporate substance usage into that mental health counseling service and to attend like the AANA meetings. It was also brought up that she would benefit from EMDR therapy to help with her substance use and emotional stability. And so we are trying to assist Mrs. Acklin in referring her for these services, but due to the communication and I haven't been able to actually visit with her in person yet to talk to her about these things.
Tell me what EMDR is.
It is, I apologize, I do not remember what it stands for, but it is a type of therapy that helps change the like brain chemistry and I apologize for not having a lot of information about this. I will find out.
I'm looking for it in the report, maybe. Okay, and she's got quite a few diagnoses. Severe alcohol use disorder in early remission, moderate cannabis use disorder, mild cocaine use disorder, unspecified depressive disorder, unspecified anxiety disorder, PTSD. We've got a lot of areas to work on. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. So we also have a whole list. I put it in it as an exhibit of forensic fluids that where she did not appear. What does her testing look like? How often and who does that?
So I believe that, or in the report, I mentioned that I was only able to collect about 3 drug screens from her during the reporting period, and these had all come back positive for cocaine usage. And these were the screens that I was able to get when I visited with her. She has not been able to come to the agency or go to the facility to get screened during those other times when her color was called.
Okay, so regarding substance abuse, well, what about counseling? Does she receive substance abuse counseling?
So I recently found out that she is not attending mental health counseling services any longer. She was actually discharged from Arbor Circle in November of 2024. So she is currently not participating in any services because the foster care supportive visitation also ended.
Okay, and the collection from December 16, she was also positive for amphetamines and methamphetamines. Is that right?
Correct. She did admit to me that she had used cocaine at this time, and that was why this was positive. And she had mentioned that she had taken an Adderall before that would have explained the methamphetamine, amphetamine positive.
Okay, so very little progress on those important issues. Is that correct?
Correct.
Has her housing remained stable?
Correct. Yes, it has remained stable. She has informed me that she does struggle to make ends meet each month and to make the next payment, rent payment for her duplex. She has not reported these concerns to me recently, but that may be because of the lack of communication.
And there were, at the last hearing, we discussed domestic violence. Has she been referred to any counseling, or was that supposed to be included in the Arbor Circle counseling?
It was my thought process to include that in the mental health counseling services from Arbor Circle. So I will need to refer her for additional services.
Okay. And then she has a supportive visit coach person. Is that correct?
Correct. That service has ended. and we are no longer meeting with the foster care supportive visitation coach. The agency was planning to seek out play therapy with Mrs. Eklund and the kids so that they can their interactions can be monitored with that while they're playing together.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to discuss that when we were discussing younger. Let's see. I guess it was, I don't know which child, but one of them was getting counseling in the home with play therapy.
So Arbor Circle is currently working with the youngest SA, and she, but her name, so they are working with her directly, but they also work with the two youngest, EA and SA. So both elder SA and younger SA and EA are working together with Arbor Circle, and these are home-based therapy appointments.
Okay, good. And so what do the parenting times look like between the mother and the children?
These are typically Wednesdays and Thursdays is what works best. And these typically start at 5:45, 5:30, and last an hour until 6:30, 6:45.
And they were in the home of the grandmother, is that correct?
Yes. There was a recent, so over the past couple of weeks, it has been brought to the agency's attention that Mrs. Eklund would arrive to the caregiver's home and for parenting times, and she would be either maybe late or maybe even early, and she would bring friends that have not been cleared by MDHHS or the agency and for these parenting times, and would also cause arguments with the caregiver in front of the children. And these have been reported to be pretty aggressive fights. Not so much any hitting or anything like that, but or lots of yelling. And so from this, the agency has decided to bring the parenting times back to the agency, and we will be supervising those again.
Okay, and you had an opportunity to observe some of that visit, didn't you?
I have not been able to observe a visit this reporting period. The last
I'm sorry, did you watch a recording of some of that?
Oh, yes. I did, or I was given a recording to show the yelling in front of the children in the home. Yes.
Okay, and there were statements of swearing and statements by mom about just putting the kids out on the street, things like
Correct.
that.
And
Okay.
taking them away from the family or to never see them again, specifically the caregiver.
Okay, and in that video, little essays in her Elsa dress.
For her birthday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for her birthday. So they had to it's my understanding that they got Ms. Eklund out of there and had to restart the birthday party, I guess.
Correct. It was reported to me that they were able to get Mrs. Eklund to leave without calling law enforcement, but that was going to be the next choice.
She had to have two friends come and coax out. Okay. And would you agree with me that's not in the children's best interest for that to be going on?
Yes.
Okay. And the fact that Ms. Eklund doesn't test consistently, we really don't know if she's using, not using, if this is mental health versus being high on something. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And so the consistency, I didn't hear it. Has she been consistent on attending those?
She has not been consistent with attending parenting times or visits with her children. She will often reschedule due to medical emergencies or cancel because of the medical emergencies, and then is not able to see the children sometimes the entire week or maybe only once a week.
And she's had multiple excuses, and maybe she has a lot of medical concerns, but she had her more recent one of a peanut allergy. Today it's a foot surgery. Have you ever gotten any medical verification for any of this stuff?
So she has been having difficulties she has been having these foot surgeries since around the time that she got her home, around September, November was when she was starting to do these foot surgeries, and I have not been able to receive verification. The last thing I heard about in regards to her foot surgeries was, I believed the last one was supposed to be in January. And that was what she had reported herself or reported to me, but I have not received any verification of any kind for these appointments.
Okay, and as far as, did you ever remind her that there was a hearing today?
Yes,
And I don't know why her mail would be going to her mother. She's had maintained a home and she has an address. Is that correct?
correct.
Okay, can you give that? Well, Your Honor, do you mind if it's given on the record, or?
We will stop live streaming so that information can be provided.
It's done, but there's a lot for her to do yet. Would you agree?
Correct.
And as far as stabilization of the mental health concerns and the substance abuse concerns, we really haven't gotten much progress at all. Would you agree?
Yes.
And we have 5 children here with quite a few needs, appointments. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
It is a permanency planning hearing. The children were removed, let's see, April, I believe, April 19 of last year, 2024, correct?
Correct.
It's not been quite a year, and they are with a relative. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so do you see a need for these children establishing permanency soon?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and so it's not quite been a year. Would you request that the next hearing be a permanency planning hearing and even possibly get in here sooner than 3 months?
Yes.
But it is a permanency planning hearing today, so would the children be at a substantial risk of harm today if returned to either parent?
Yes.
And we're not asking for termination today, but there's quite a few concerns. And would you be addressing that at the next hearing?
Yes.
Did the children's placement with their grandmother in her home allow them all to have regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities?
Yes.
Lots of appointments, school, daycare, playing with each other, correct?
Yes.
All right. What are your recommendations today?
Today, my recommendations are as follows. The children remain a temporary court ward under the care and supervision of MDHHS and Wellspring Lutheran Services. The children remain placed in the relative placement or a licensed foster home. All parties comply and benefit from the parent agency treatment agreement, and Mr. and Mrs. Ackland's parenting times be supervised by the agency or its designee, and that this matter be reviewed in the next 90 days or sooner.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Colletti.
Thank you. Ms. Morrison, overall, Ms. Ackland is working a treatment plan. You're just saying that her progress has not been substantial, correct?
Correct.
And so everything that's contained in the parent agency agreement, you've reviewed with her?
Yes. I have not been able to review the most recent parent agency treatment plan with her during this reporting period, for this last reporting period, due to not being able to meet with her during the visit because she was not available.
Okay, so that's why it's not signed.
Correct.
All right, and then but how often do you meet with her to go over the treatment plan?
I meet with her monthly to go over the foster care case and the parent agency treatment plan.
Is it possible to meet with her more often to give her more support?
I think that can be possible.
Okay, and so that'll be based on your availability as well as her availability?
Correct.
All right. And so your recommendations this time are just to maintain the status quo?
Yes.
Thank you. Another question, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Miss Morrison.
Hello.
So, Miss Morrison, just a few questions. So, Mr. Ackland is in Kentucky. You indicated that you're providing what you can in the way of services for him in Kentucky. Is that true?
Correct. It is difficult because he is living in Kentucky. We aren't able to fund for the services that we would if he lived in Michigan.
And in that regard, I'm looking at page 3 of the case service plan. It says that parenting class is one of the services that you are recommending for him. And has that been accomplished yet? Has he taken a parenting class?
He has not.
But he would have to pay for that himself?
Yes.
Likewise, it says that you will provide assistance for him in finding services in the Louisville area. Have you done that?
I have not been able to speak with Mr. Ackland due to the lack of communication. So I am trying to kind of my intention is to send him a few resources in the mail so that he can have a tangible copy, like a hard copy of those resources to utilize. So I am kind of gathering that packet to send to him now, and to help him kind of identify those resources.
Okay, you did testify earlier that you sent him something and it came back. Is that true?
Yes, I had sent him the parent agency treatment plans for him to review, and it was sent back to me.
And do you know, is he living in an apartment? Could it be the apartment numbers wrong or something?
I do think that I was able to get an apartment number from him, and I do believe that this might have been why the mail was returned.
Okay. As far as his visits with the children, do you know how many he's missed this report period? And I know he does those by telephone. So do you know how many visits he's made this report period as far as telephone calls with the children?
Not on the top of my head.
Okay. But you'll continue to reach out to him and try to get some movement on his ability to find some services.
Yes.
Okay, understood. Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Newhouse, any questions?
No, thank you.
Ms. Coletti, any follow-up questions?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Okay. And Ms. Newhouse, any additional witnesses or evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Coletti, any additional witnesses or evidence?
Not for me. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Adams, any additional witnesses or any witnesses or evidence?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Statement, Ms. Newhouse.
Thank you. Your Honor, before I forget it, we had a brief discussion with the attorneys and Your Honor prior to the hearing, and I do believe a CASA would be a good addition in this matter. Maybe 2, I don't know. The children all reside together, but that's up to, I guess, the court and CASA. I support the recommendations. I am very concerned about the lack of progress in this case, and we make a little bit of progress, and then it's more steps back, I would say. I saw the children last evening. They're all doing amazing. I think Judge Rossi pointed that out at the last hearing, that his finding was the kids were all making a lot of progress. I guess they have their own treatment plan, but they've all been doing beautifully in the home of their grandmother. They're all growing, and the organization baffles me how Ms. Kendrick is able to do that, because they listen to her. We had a bit of a meltdown last night by SA and younger SA, and she had a lot more patience than I would have, I think. And Grandma explained to me that some of the problems last night at my visit were that that particular child hates when she has to go away from Ms. Kendrick, and that bothered her that I was there, and we were discussing. I was watching that video, and we were discussing some adult things, and she has quite a bit of anxiety not being with her grandmother and separation issues and things like that. So it's great that she's doing that home therapy already. And I did witness that visit, and it was just horrible for the children, emotionally scary for the children. And so I think it's a good idea to draw those visits back to the agency. And I support that. And I support looking at permanency for these children because we're not making a lot of progress. They have a lot of needs. And so I would ask the next hearing be a permanency planning hearing as we plan going forward, where they will be permanently. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Colletti.
Thank you. And on behalf of my client, I think she is working on this treatment plan. She does have she's got substantial needs. And I think because of those needs, she probably needs more intensive services than just once a month. So I would respectfully request, Your Honor, that we just continue all prior orders, that leave the discretion of the agency to allow the visits at mother's home or at the agency, because, you know, since she does have the benefit of the children being with grandmother, I think that it would be in the best interest of the children to continue that. But in all other respects, I have no other statements. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Adams.
Support the recommendation, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute, that there's probable cause to believe that Dwayne Acklin is the legal father of all of the children except for the eldest, ZA, if I have that right. Is that right? Okay. I think the last order might have been incorrect. That Mr. Acklin is the putative father for the eldest, ZA. That returning these children to a parent today would cause a substantial risk of harm to the children's life, physical health, or mental well-being for all of the reasons placed on the record today. That the children should not be returned to the parents. The agency should not initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to these children at this time because we have not hit the 1 year mark, and the court wishes to give the parents another bit of time. That reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for these children to safely return home. That those reasonable efforts for reunification be continued. That in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating the conditions that cause these children to be placed or remain in temporary foster care has not been made by either parent or by the unknown father of SA. That these children's placement, continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting each of their individual needs. And Ms. Kendrick, just let me say that I had 4 closely spaced children, and I know how much work it is. And when you add another one in there, and especially with all the special needs, you're a saint. So thank you very much. I know you don't need thanks because you're the grandparent, but very impressed and amazed. And I'm so glad they have you in their corner. That the needs of these children can be met in a foster family home. That reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court-approved permanency plan of reunification. That permanency plan remains appropriate for now. That the department, foster home or institutional placement, has followed the reasonable and prudent parenting standard, and that these children have had regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities. All of the siblings are in joint placement. The court orders that the children be continued in the protective and temporary custody of the court, that they continue with the department for care and supervision, that The adjudicated respondents comply with and benefit from the case service plan. The parenting time of each of these parents is to be, it is, the department has discretion to allow supervised or unsupervised parenting time by its designee. It certainly sounds like with regard to Ms. Ackland that the decision to pull parenting time for mother back to the agency is appropriate and in the best interest of these children, given what's occurred most recently. Continue the attorneys in this matter. The court will appoint a CASA. I think these children can benefit from another adult who just been present in their lives and caring, and the court can certainly benefit from another perspective here. And we will schedule a permanency planning hearing for April 22nd at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10:30. And is there anything further that the court needs to address?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right,
And that date was May 10?
April 22nd, 9 o'clock,
Sorry, thank you.
9 to 10:30.
And that will be a PPH.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. Present in the virtual courtroom today, we have Mother Mariah Ackland. We have our attorney, Deborah Coletti. We have Father's attorney, Michael Adams. We have the children's attorney, Kristen Newhouse, various agency workers, and the foster parent. Right. Ms. Newhouse.
Thank you. Ms. Carnes, are you going to be testifying?
Yes, I will be.
Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Karen's.
Cairns. I'd
Yeah.
like to call Carolyn Cairns, please. Who is the former worker was Sydney Lee? Who is the new worker?
The new worker's name is Faith.
Okay. But she's not present today?
She is not present, but her supervisor is present for her.
Okay. All right, so you're getting her up to speed, I would imagine?
Yes, we had a case transfer last week, I believe on the 14th or 15th, to review case history, and I will continue to be at the agency and provide support to the new caseworker as necessary.
Has this caseworker change affected services to the family in any way?
It has not.
Let's see, did your agency prepare and provide a case service plan? It was by Sydney Lee, report date July 2, 2025, along with that honorable judge report, I believe.
That is correct.
I'd ask that be marked as Exhibit 1 and move for the admission of that, please.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
It's admitted.
Thank you. We have an employment, it says Christat, CRL. It's an employment drop that Ms. Eklund did. And then we have a number of forensic fluid drops for her, 612, 51, 430, 417, 416, all 2025. I'd ask that be marked as Exhibit 2, move for the admission of that.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
As Exhibit 3, we have a DAB St. John's report regarding younger ZA, completed June 3, 2025. I'd ask that be marked as Exhibit 3 and move for the admission of that.
Any objection?
No objection.
None, Your Honor.
And lastly, as proposed Exhibit 4, I have a lease that between Mariah Ackland and Stephen Flores. Mine is not signed or dated, but it's the outline of the residential lease agreement. It's my understanding a signed copy exists, but just to get the information in there, I'd ask that be marked as Exhibit 4 and move for the admission of that.
Any objection?
No
No
objection.
objection.
All right, it's admitted for that purpose.
Thank you. Ms. Cairns, let's start with the children. The older ZA just turned 8 last week. Okay, how's he doing?
He's doing really well, continues to remain up to date on all medical and dental appointments. ZA finished school. He did very well. He will be attending the Coit Creative Arts Academy through GRPS in the fall, which he appears excited to participate in. I think it'll be a really great program for him. He is currently on the wait list for counseling through Arbor Circle. The caregiver has been plans to look into counseling through school when he returns in the fall, but he continues to be doing very well. Well bonded to his siblings, doing very well in the foster home. There's no concerns.
And what is he doing in the summer? Does he have, is he attending school? Does he go to daycare?
He is enrolled in a summer program that has reportedly gone well. I believe, I don't believe that any concerns have been reported
Okay.
regarding this.
All right. And then the younger ZA, she is 6. How's she doing?
Continues to be doing very well, up to date on medical and dental appointments. She will also be participating in the Kuwait Creative Arts program through GRPS in the fall. She's also enrolled in a summer program. During the last reporting period, she received an autism diagnosis, so she is participating, or she's on the wait list to participate in ABA services through DAB, D Lodge St. John. An intake occurred on 5/21. There's currently a wait list. However, the service provider meets monthly with ZA as well as the relative caregiver, just as a check-in to make sure she has everything she needs. She does seem to be doing pretty well, but I think she will benefit from more intensive ABA services once she's off of the wait list. She has had some behaviors throughout this reporting period. She seems to struggle with a lack of structure. I think this has especially become present in the summer when she's not on a more regular and consistent schedule. She has some difficulty leaving parenting times. She does have some meltdowns, but overall, she seems to be doing very well. Caregiver has not expressed any concerns to me. She appears well bonded to her siblings and very comfortable in the foster home.
And this DAB St. John's report that we admitted was an initial type service plan, but she's still technically on the wait list. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Let's see. Next would be the older SA. He's 5. How's he doing?
He continues to be doing well. He's up to date on all medical and dental appointments. In the fall, he will begin a Spanish immersion Head Start program through GRPS. He is currently, he was engaging in the counseling services at his school, but this was terminated due to it no longer being necessary for him. He is a very quiet kiddo, so I think that's why services had ended, but those will be resumed if necessary. He will be participating in speech therapy in the fall, which I feel will be a positive service for him to participate in. He has not been engaging in the virtual parenting times with Mr. Acklin. Those have occurred a few times within this reporting period, and the older SA consistently is not very engaged in those parenting times. It's unclear why. He tends during parenting times with Miss Acklin to be pretty shy and reserved, plays by himself. But I think this could just be his personality. So nothing too concerning at this point in time, but will continue to be monitored and additional services will be provided if necessary. But very well bonded to caregiver, very well bonded to siblings. No significant concerns.
All the kids aren't they bonded to the caregiver and their siblings?
Yes.
And then younger SA, she's 4. How's she doing?
Very well, up to date on all medical and dental appointments. She will also be participating in the Spanish Emergent Head Start program. She is participating in counseling through school biweekly as of right now. So that is what she's doing through the summer. The school continues, so she's still going to school there and doing the counseling. She's doing pretty well. She sometimes refuses to leave her parenting times and has some difficulty leaving school. But overall, she's doing very well.
We don't have the quietness problem with her, right?
No, do not.
Okay.
She's full of personality.
All right. EA, he's 2.5. How's he doing?
Very well, up to date on all medical and dental appointments. He will also be participating in the Spanish Immersion Head Start program with his siblings, and he is also on the wait list for counseling at school. He's doing very well.
Okay. He's not missing any meals. He's very, very, what do I want to say? Kind of, I don't want to say large, but he looks big for his age, tall.
Yes, he does, but he seems very healthy. No concerns have been reported by his doctor, so nothing to follow up on at this point. But yeah, he's doing very well.
Okay, so all the kids are doing well?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Well, let's start with Mr. Acklin. Is he still living in Kentucky?
He is still living in Kentucky.
Okay, and how much contact does he have with the agency?
He's had very minimal engagement with the agency. Based on conversation with a previous caseworker, she will reach out to him, does not hear back from him. I don't believe that virtual home visits were occurring throughout this reporting period due to his lack of engagement with the agency. Services have been offered that he did not take advantage of. We were informed during this reporting period that he has new housing, but we haven't received further verification of where he is currently living. We just know that he's continuing to live in Kentucky.
Do you know if he's participating in any other services in Kentucky, like counseling or substance use or anything like that?
No, not to our knowledge. He was informed that the agency is able to help locate counseling services for him, although the agency is unable to provide funding for that. We were never informed of him seeking services or finding a service provider. He was provided with a parenting class through MSU Extension parenting class that he indicated he believed he had signed up for. And then this was verified with the service provider who had indicated that Mr. Acklin had not registered, nor has he been participating in any of their classes.
So that the parenting time, the Zoom parenting times, those were facilitated directly through the caregiver when he does those. Is that right?
That is correct. And I believe they're phone calls
Okay.
instead of like a video, but yes,
Oh,
they're
okay.
facilitated by the caregiver.
Which, there's not a lot of bonding that can happen with a phone call with little children. Would you agree with me?
Yes, I would agree.
Also, the agency provided him funding for him to come to Michigan. Is that right?
That is correct.
Did he utilize that? Did he come here?
No, he has not come here. Mr. Eklund continues to indicate that he hasn't received the funding or the packet of information that's been sent. It's been sent multiple times now, and he continues to indicate that he has not received it.
Okay. And is he still only putative father for Elder ZA?
That is correct.
Okay, so we've tried to get an affidavit of parentage down to him. He's done nothing to assist with that, right?
That is correct. We actually had a previous caseworker, Madison Sonnenfeld, was in Kentucky and tried to locate Mr. Eklund while she was in Kentucky to have him sign, and he would not agree to meet with her. So we have not been able to have that signed by Mr. Eklund.
Okay. And if the children were returned to his care right now, it doesn't sound like you have a good read on where he's at in terms of housing, employment, any of that, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Would all 5 children be at a substantial risk of care if they were returned to him today?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, that's based on what we know and what there's so many things we don't know about him, right?
Correct.
And he's not even legal father for the oldest child, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let's talk about Mrs. Eklund. She continues to reside in the area. Where's she at exactly now?
During this reporting period, Mrs. Eklund informed the caseworker that she was living in Fowler, Michigan, right outside of Lansing. Mrs. Eklund indicated that she was living alone, but verification has not been received that she's the only one living in the home. And we have reason to believe that she potentially does have roommates in the home that we've not been able to evaluate.
Is this the premises of this lease that was admitted as Exhibit 4?
Yes.
Okay. And is the landlord, is that a romantic interest of hers, friend? Do we know?
We do not know.
Okay. Did you get a signed copy of that from her?
No, we have not received a signed copy.
Do you know if one exists?
I do not know if one exists.
Okay. And so how far is Fowler, Michigan from Grand Rapids?
I believe Lansing is about an hour, a little over an hour from here, and Fowler is a little bit east, I believe, of Lansing. So I would suspect probably close to an hour and a half.
Okay, I understand housing is complicated and difficult to find, but does that complicate her ability to work services with you all?
We have informed Mrs. Eklund that we can seek services for her where she is currently living throughout the reporting period. She had reported living in Ionia County, and then she was then moved to the Lansing area. So she's been unable to maintain housing in a specific area long enough for us to be able to provide her services. But if Mrs. Eklund continued to live in Fowler, the agency would be able to locate services for her in that area.
All right. And what other services? At the last hearing, we talked about possibly an MSU parenting class. Has she done that? Was she referred to that?
She was signed up for it. I don't believe that she had participated in it, to my understanding.
Is she employed?
She reports being employed at a factory. That is the drug screen that was included within the exhibits from Christat is the provider, I believe. So that is the only verification we have of her currently working. We have not received pay stubs or any further verification.
Have you asked her for that?
Yes, the previous caseworker asked for it, and we have never received it.
Okay. Is she provided gas cards or anything to get to Grand Rapids?
She has been offered gas cards and or a bus pass, but Mrs. Eklund has not been willing to complete a budget with the agency caseworker in order to provide that transportation assistance. She has been asking her mom, the relative caregiver, for transportation assistance. The relative caregiver is also aware that the agency can provide that support to Mrs. Eklund and that the caregiver is not required to provide that assistance.
Okay. And let's see, talk about her drops. She's got the one she submitted from her work, but the ones, how many has she done and how many has she missed through your agency?
Mrs. Eklund has drug screened 4 times through the agency. These occurred when the caseworker met with Mrs. Eklund for their monthly home visit. Mrs. Eklund was referred to randomized drug screening, although she was not able to consistently participate due to us not knowing where she was living at the time, and also reporting not having transportation. So she never participated in any of the randomized drug screens. I don't have the number off the top of my head for how many were missed, but I can certainly refer to my notes and find that for you if that would be helpful. But Mrs. Eklund tested positive 3 of the 4 times, twice for cocaine, 1 time for THC, and then she was clean for the other test. That was the test administered on 6/12/25.
I noticed in the report, Ms. Ackland says she doesn't know how that cocaine was in there, maybe by using vapes of friends or something.
Yes, Mrs. Ackland continues to deny the positive drug screens, including drug screens from THC.
Okay. Was there ever a discussion about a hair follicle for her?
I don't believe so, not to my recollection.
Hmm. Let's see. She had some medical issues back where she cut her finger off. Have you ever been given medical documentation for that?
About 2 reporting periods ago, I did receive some verification. This was when I believe she had maybe hit her head and had a concussion, I believe. That was provided to the court, but otherwise we have not received any verification. During this reporting period, Mrs. Ackland informed the caseworker that she somehow hurt her jaw and her jaw was wired shut. And these are all due to domestic violence incidents, but verification has not been received of those injuries.
Okay, I'm sorry for flopping around here, but regarding her housing too, that one of your workers did go to the home and Ms. Eklund was living with a stranger she met on the internet?
Yes,
Okay. And there were belongings of someone else in the home, correct?
yes,
Is this his Fowler residence?
I believe so.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Emotional stability. She began therapy. Is she meeting with her therapist?
She is. She has been participating in virtual counseling sessions with her therapist through Arbor Circle. She had previously been participating in Arbor Circle, although she was discharged due to not consistently participating. But while she was living out of county, she was still able to participate virtually.
Okay. She's had fewer emotional outbursts towards agency workers?
That is true. The agency hasn't been meeting with her as frequently, so we only meet with her monthly for those home visits compared to twice a week for those virtual or for those in-person parenting times at the agency.
Was there an outburst after the last court hearing?
Mrs. Ackland had contacted the relative caregiver. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was about me, stating that she was threatening me.
Okay. In the report, it says that she hates the caseworker and wanted to slap the piss out of her.
Yes, that's what she said.
Okay. Did anybody talk to her about that from your agency?
The caseworker was made informed of that. I believe she had discussed that with Mrs. Ackland, but I am not able to verify that information.
There was a alleged incident where she allegedly broke into the caregiver's home while the caregiver was away.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. She denies that.
Yes, to my understanding, she does.
Okay. Let's talk about parenting. Well, how much do you see significant improvement on the emotional stability? I mean, she's attending some therapy sessions, but where are we at on that?
I still have concerns with Mrs. Ackland's decision-making skills. She appeared to a parenting time on 7/14, which was one of the youth's birthdays. It was the older ZA's birthday, and she was under the influence of alcohol, noticeable by the relative caregiver. So that raises concern for decision-making skills. So she has made improvement, I would say, in her emotional stability. But again, I have concerns for her decision-making skills. The agency also has had significantly less contact with Mrs. Ackland, for there to be less opportunities for that contact between us and Mrs. Ackland to kind of observe her behavior.
So there was another incident at one of the children's birthday parties?
Yes, it was a parenting time at the relative caregiver's home on 7/14, celebrating the older ZA's birthday, where she was visibly under the influence of alcohol.
Okay, and similarly, younger SA, there was a explosive outburst by Ms. Ackland at her birthday party, and that had to be cut short and was traumatic for the kids. Is that right?
That is correct.
Did the caregiver report to you that older ZA that was having the birthday party didn't want his mom to come because he didn't want the same thing to happen?
Sorry to interrupt. I don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about parenting skills. You've talked about like how many has she attended? Are they at the agency, at the caregiver's home? Where are they?
Due to Mrs. Ackland living out of county, the relative caregiver indicated that she would be willing to supervise parenting times again at her home. During this reporting period, there were 13 parenting times that had occurred. There were a number that were virtual, about 4 that were virtual due to the relative caregiver being out of town, as well as that would have occurred twice. And then there were 2 instances of Mrs. Ackland requesting that the parenting time be virtual. They do seem to be going better than they were when they were at the agency. There was an incident on 4/30/25 of Mrs. Ackland asking the relative caregiver to step in for intervention due to the children being escalated and just not being able to control the situation. And then there was the incident on the older ZA's birthday of appearing under the influence of alcohol. So these parenting times are occurring over the weekends, they are extended visits. Mrs. Ackland is able to have 2 visits a week with her children because of the ages of the children. But due to the transportation required, the relative caregiver and Mrs. Ackland have agreed to do more extended parenting time. So these are between like 3 and 4 hours long.
But some of these parenting times have been 15 minutes or less.
Yes, the virtual parenting times are between like 5 and 10 minutes typically because the youth are distracted, not super engaged.
For
so
5 kids. For
Yes.
5 kids. Okay.
Yes.
But that is not a rule of the agency. That's the best she can do. Ms.
Yes.
Ackland can do.
Yes.
Okay. So how would you quantify the improvements we have with parenting as one of the main barriers here?
I would say that Mrs. Ackland's parenting time has remained consistent. I don't believe that there's been significant improvement in her parenting skills. She has not had as many outbursts as she has had previously, but she's not consistently bringing food or items for the children. She appears very overwhelmed during parenting times. When I was her caseworker, she had indicated to me that it's very hard to meet the needs of the kids during visits. I have concern for Mrs. Ackland's ability to parent all 5 children completely independently without the support of another adult.
Is it fair to say that, oh, by the way, was a referral ever made for domestic violence based on this incident she had in a new relationship with losing her finger and all that kind of stuff?
When I was the caseworker, I had discussed with her the CAC. Oh, I'm sorry. That's yes, the CAC, which provides some DV counseling. But Mrs. Ackland never took advantage of that service. So I don't believe that any specific DV services are being provided to Mrs. Ackland. Although I do believe the previous caseworker spoke with the therapist through Arbor Circle to see if they could provide some DV counseling.
Okay, so just to summarize, substance abuse, she's missed all the random tests. Progress poor.
Yes.
Mental health, she's attending counseling, but continues to have some outbursts. Sounds like there's maybe some improvement, but not a lot.
Yes, that would be correct.
And then the parenting, based on the fact that, I mean, she's moved away. She's not even spending a whole lot of time with these 5 kids that all have pretty significant, some have developmental needs, all of them have emotional needs. What's her progress in that area?
I would rate Mrs. Ackland's progress as poor due to consistently being unable to meet the youth's needs during parenting times.
Okay. If any of the children were returned home today to Ms. Ackland, would they be at a substantial risk of harm to their life, physical, mental, and emotional well-being?
Yes, they would.
Speaking as to both parents, do you believe that termination of parental rights is in their best interest?
I do.
The removal date was April 19, 2024. So we are 15 months past removal, correct?
That is correct.
And virtually no progress by the father, correct?
Correct.
And very little by the mother, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe that their placement with their grandmother caregiver allows the children to have regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities?
Yes, absolutely.
Sounds like they do a lot
They do.
for that big of a group. What are your recommendations today?
It is respectfully recommended that ZA, SA, and EA remain temporary court wards under the care and supervision of the Department of Health and Human Services and Wellspring Lutheran Services, that the youth remain in their relative placement, another approved relative's home or licensed foster home as needed. All parties comply with and benefit from the parent agency treatment plan. Mr. and Mrs. Ackland's parenting times remain supervised by the agency or its designee, and a termination hearing be scheduled.
Specifically regarding the recommendation for termination, have your agency and the caregiver explored legal guardianship of the children?
Yes, I have spoken with the caregiver right after the last permanency planning hearing, and the relative caregiver indicated that she would not be interested in pursuing guardianship due to the relationship that she has with Mrs. Ackland being not very healthy and just very extensive history with Mrs. Ackland, and adoption will provide more permanency to the youth. And so that the caregiver had indicated that she would be willing to pursue adoption. She would not be willing to pursue guardianship.
Are the children old enough to express what they want, or are they too young at this point?
I would say that they're too young.
Okay. But you've been able to observe the bonding between the caregiver and all 5 children?
Yes, I have.
Okay. How would you describe their bonding to her?
They have a great bond. After parenting times at the agency, the kids would excitedly run out to the relative caregiver, calling her grandma, giving her a big hug. always appear very well bonded. I don't know if I've ever really seen a relationship like these kiddos have with their grandma. So they have a great bond with each other and seems like a great family dynamic.
And in your opinion, does Ms. Kendrick, the caregiver, does she attempt to facilitate the continuing relationship of the children with both their mother and their father?
Yes, she does.
Okay. She wants to be granny, not mom necessarily, right?
Yes, yeah, but she is willing to fill that role if reunification can't be pursued.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Colletti.
Thank you. Ms. Cairns, first, Faith will be the fourth worker.
I believe Faith would potentially be the fifth worker, if my memory serves me well.
But approximately every 3 months, we get a new worker.
Give or take, I suppose, but sure, yes.
And isn't it true that Ms. Ackland has made, in the report it says partial progress, but she's made more than just partial progress and I'll give you an example. She's got a recovery coach, correct?
She does, through Upper Circle.
A counselor that she's been attending regularly.
Yes, through Upper Circle.
She has housing.
Yes, however, we haven't been able to deem that safe or appropriate at this point in time. Our housing's unknown to us at this point.
Because you haven't seen it yet?
I believe the previous caseworker was able to see the home, but because we don't know who's living in the home, we haven't been able to get clearances on that individual. So we haven't been able to deem that appropriate for that reason.
Okay, but you can still evaluate and determine if it's appropriate if you get all the clearances, correct?
Yes, we could do that.
And she reports it's a 5-bedroom house and it's affordable to her. It's an $800 rent payment.
Yes, that's my understanding.
And she's got a job and a car.
She has a job. We have not been able to receive further verification other than that one drug screen that was a couple months ago now. And then, she has indicated that she has a car, but I don't believe, I don't know the state of the car.
But she's been out of counties, I believe, since March, correct?
Yes.
And isn't it true that she asked for the screens to be moved or available where she's living as opposed to doing the randomized screens here?
Yes, and we referred her to randomized screening in Ionia County, and she did not, for a month that she was referred, and she did not participate in any of those drug screens.
Isn't it true you just referred randomized screening to Lansing, like this past week or so?
From 3/12 to 4/16, she was referred to randomized screening in Ionia, and she did not participate in any of those. And then we did not know where she was living for some time, so we weren't able to re-refer her.
Isn't it true that in May she has to be referred to a Lansing area where she was living? You're saying you're not.
We didn't know exactly where she was living within Lansing, so we didn't know which county to provide the randomized drug screening to because we didn't know exactly where she was living.
But the point is she asked, correct? And she wanted to do the screens, correct?
Yes.
So she's been really participating and seeking services on her own, correct?
In terms of substance use and screening, yes, although her participation was not consistent when she was referred to randomized screening.
Okay, but she's making more progress than you're reporting. My point is that she now has clean screens, that she is working, she's visiting the kids, correct?
She's had 2 clean screens. She's denying her positive drug screens, indicating that she isn't testing positive for those substances, which raises concern for the agency that she's denying those drug screens. So I would not say that she has made significant progress in this area.
Okay. When you said that you don't think she's living alone, did she report she lives alone?
She reported to the caseworker that she was living alone. However, the caregiver had indicated believing that she had a roommate.
Okay. Her caregiver also reported that she was drunk on S.A.'s birthday. And is that verified?
We were not able to verify because we were not there to administer a drug screen due to it being over the weekend. And the relative caregiver can't administer a drug screen.
So if Ms. Kendra says one thing and Ms. Ackland says another. Is the default just to believe Ms. Kendrick?
If Mrs. Ackland appeared under the influence of substances, I've seen her under the influence of substances. It was obviously very clear to the relative caregiver to the point where a parenting time had to be ended because of that. So not to say that we wouldn't believe Mrs. Ackland, but as indicated in the report in my previous testimony, there's other person's belongings in Mrs. Ackland's home, which again raises concern that she's living with someone else.
Did you ask her about that? Did you ask her if she's just storing those objects for a friend?
I was not involved in those conversations. That would be the previous caseworker who would have had that conversation with her.
Okay, so you're making assumptions based without asking the follow-up questions, or the previous caseworkers.
I'm making a statement based on what has been reported to me.
Okay. With regard to her parenting time, visits are going better with her mother supervising, aren't they?
Yes,
And she is there and able to meet the children's needs for those extended periods, correct?
yes. However, she has asked for intervention on a couple of occasions from the caregiver to provide some assistance.
Okay, and when the visits were virtual and you said that she stopped them after 15 minutes, isn't it true in your experience that with these young children, it's hard to engage children virtually in front of a screen for that long?
I suppose, however, with 5 children, asking simple questions, how was your day? What did you do today? How was school? With 5 children, I would have to imagine that a conversation would last longer than 5 minutes if Mrs. Ackland was spending individual time with each of the children.
You weren't present to witness that, were you?
No, I was not. The relative caregiver was.
And when you said she was overwhelmed with her during the parenting time, who saw that?
I did. I provided transportation after a parenting time with Mrs. Ackland. This was within the last reporting period. But all of the kiddos were high energy and just going every which direction. I had noticed during the parenting time that Mrs. Ackland appeared overwhelmed. She seemed to struggle maintaining composure of herself and just keeping the kids calm. And then after the parenting time, I asked Mrs. Ackland how she felt it went. And she said that she had a hard time managing them and that she didn't know what had gotten into them during that parenting time to lead them to be as,
That was
energy.
But wasn't that approximately 3 months ago?
Yes, however, she even on 4:30 had asked for intervention from the caregiver from the caregiver due to being overwhelmed. And she has the relative caregiver at those parenting times. To my understanding, she's pretty involved. The caregiver's at least present for those parenting times and is able to step in. Whereas at the agency caseworker is not involved in parenting time. They're sitting in another room away from the parenting time to observe. So the relative caregiver seems pretty involved during these parenting times.
And you mentioned the bond between the kids and the relative caregiver, but isn't there also a very strong bond between the mother and the children?
The kids do appear excited during parenting times to see Mrs. Ackland. I know the older ZA is sad when parenting times end, so there is a bond between them.
Okay. So the main thing we need to do, it's only been 15 months, not been 22 months, and the children are with a relative caregiver, correct?
That is correct.
And if the goal is adoption, if we give Ms. Ackland another 3 months, that's not going to change their placement or the change. There won't be any change to the children's permanence because they're going to be either A, staying with Ms. Kendrick or going back to mother, correct?
That would be correct.
So what is the rush to ask for termination after just 15 months when she is making progress?
Mrs. Ackland has not made significant progress to address all barriers. Mrs. Ackland's housing has continued to change since case inception. She received an eviction notice. Her employment has not been stable since case inception. She's had multiple different jobs, has not provided verification of the different jobs. She's denying substance use, which is a concern for the agency. I have told her that I would rather her be honest about her substance use and just admit to the substance use. She continues to deny it. Mrs. Ackland has made some improvement in her parenting skills, although continues to appear overwhelmed. Mrs. Ackland continues to be involved in relationships where domestic violence is present to the point where she's having her jaw wired shut. I believe
I want to address that. Isn't it true that she told you that she had a she drives a high-low and she slipped out of it, hit her jaw on the concrete floor and had her mouth wired shut? There was a work accident.
I was not informed of that, no.
Did you ask her how that happened, or did you just assume it was domestic violence?
I was not the caseworker at the time, so I don't know. I don't have the information and verification wasn't provided.
So was the
But
prior worker assumed that was just domestic violence because she had a broken jaw and nobody asked Ms. Ackland?
I can't testify on that.
Well, you're
but
testifying
Mrs.
that there's domestic violence, but obviously you don't know that.
But Mrs. Ackland has indicated that she's had multiple injuries when her finger was cut off. The individual that she was with slammed a window on her finger. So she has had extensive, significant injuries due to being in a DV relationship. So while the jaw
But
may
that
not
was
be,
approximately 6 months ago, wasn't it?
I don't have a timeline. However, it appears that she continues to be in relationships where DV is present.
Okay, but you would admit that you are making assumptions because she's got a broken jaw, not because of verifying how she broke her jaw.
I'm not assuming that it was from DV. I'm just saying that she has an extensive history with that. I don't know. I was not the caseworker. I was not involved in those conversations. So I'm not assuming that it's from domestic violence, but she does have a history of having significant injuries from domestic violence related incidents.
And she was trying to get away from this person when the finger incident occurred, and you don't know anything after that if she's still in a relationship with anybody. You don't have any information, you're just making assumptions.
I'm not making assumptions, but I do not have further information.
Well, you're testifying that you think that somebody's living in her house. You
Yeah,
testify.
but that could be a roommate or a friend or someone else. I don't have further information on who the individual is. We have not been able to evaluate them. I don't know if the caseworker had that conversation with Mrs. Ackland. I was not present for that.
A lot of unknowns, aren't there?
I suppose, but these children have also been in care for over a year and a half, and they're at an age where they need permanency. And Mrs. Ackland continues to present other significant barriers that raise concern for how long that this case is going to continue to go on for if these kiddos don't have permanency at some point in time.
With regard to the DV, though, isn't it true that she's getting that DV counseling through Arbor Circle?
I had asked the caseworker reach out to the therapist through Arbor Circle to see if they would be willing to provide DV services. I have not gotten an update on whether or not that they are able to provide that service to her. And previously I had provided information through the CAC in Grand Rapids when she was living here, and that she did not take advantage of that service.
Because she wasn't living in the county, correct?
This is when she was still living in the county.
So overall, Ms. Carnes, what we have is basically you're claiming lack of progress, but she's really made significant progress and you're just not giving her credit. I have no other questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cairns, just one question regarding Mr. Ackland. You testified that you sent a packet to him, or at least one of your colleagues did, to facilitate travel to Grand Rapids. When did that occur?
This funding was received through our partnership agency back in when I received the case in August of last year. We had already had funding approved, so it was before August of 2025. I'm sorry, 2020. Oh, wait, 2024. I apologize. That funding had been received, and it's been sent at least 2 or 3 times now to Mr. Ackland.
Okay, so when that happens, person gets a letter of some sort in the mail, a packet, and that contains what?
It would obtain the amount of money that we had been able to provide Mr. Ackland, instructions for how he is able to, it would be a reimbursement that we're providing him. So he would buy the flight. I don't know the amount of money that we were able to request for him, but if we were able to request $300 for him, he would pay for that ticket and we would be able to reimburse him for it. So it would include that process for how to purchase that flight to come to Grand Rapids.
Okay, so it's not a physical ticket, it's instructions on how to make arrangements, and then on how to get the money back once he makes the trip.
That is correct.
Okay. What's the last contact that you are aware of with Mr. Ackland by your agency?
I do not have that off the top of my head, but if I could refer to my notes, I could find that for you.
Well, you can tell me, has it been recently? Has it been just after the last reporting period? Do you have any idea?
I believe that there's been text conversations between the previous caseworker and Mr. Ackland throughout this this reporting period, but it's been very sporadic and not consistent.
Okay, understood. Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Newhouse.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Coletti.
Nothing further, thank you.
All right, Ms. Newhouse, any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Coletti.
No witnesses, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams.
No further witnesses or evidence, thank you.
All right, statements. Ms.
Thank you.
Newhouse.
Thank you. I got to attend older ZA's pool birthday party out in the yard. The kids were so excited, and I'm just so impressed with, how far they've come in the last 15 months in the care of their grandmother. Before, when I first met younger ZA, she wouldn't talk to me. She was not very verbal at all, and she is so chatty. Took my hand, didn't want me to leave. Had a lot of questions, including the color of my house, things that were very interesting. She's into colors. Kids were all doing great. The caregiver told me that this was ZA's second birthday party because the first one didn't go very well, and she wanted him to have a joyous birthday party. So had a second one. I guess her report was at the earlier birthday party with Mother Ms. Ackland. There was discussions about termination and things that were inappropriate for the kids, and that causes the kids anxiety. I know after the last birthday party fiasco, the kids were traumatized by it. I see that they're being very well cared for, and I don't know how Ms. Kendrick does it because they have so many different appointments and things, and she works probably for her own sanity. She does amazing with these children, and she's always very firm and gentle in redirection, and it's amazing they listen to her. And they're all just thriving in her care. We have made little to no progress on the barriers that brought this case in. Oh, by the way, the father's done absolutely nothing, and he's not done anything to help us help him become the legal dad of older ZA, and I believe everybody agrees he's the biological father. He's done nothing to assist with that. And as far as Ms. Ackland, parenting, I think, is such a huge barrier. These are 5 children that are so close in age, and they have so many needs. They're so active, and I just don't see any improvement in her ability to be able to parent all 5, let alone just a couple of them. And a 15-minute phone call certainly is not going to help a whole lot. With the bonding and the discipline, things that we need to see in parenting times. I understand that housing is difficult to find. It's unfortunate that she moved to Fowler, an hour away. That just makes everything so much more difficult. And I allowed that lease to come in, but I don't know if it's signed. There's so many loose ends on her employment, housing, who's living there, things like that. I don't see a lot of improvement in finances, housing, employment, those areas too. Mental, emotional health, I'm very pleased that she's attending her appointments with her counselor. But we continue to see some emotional outbursts. There was one after the last hearing, inappropriateness at a recent visit. And then substance use, I don't think we've made any progress on that either. We had 3 cocaine positive tests this quarter. She's denying any use of that. We had the alcohol test, I guess, for work. I don't know, but that only gives you an idea of what happened that day, pretty much. We don't even know if she's still employed there. So I think the barrier she's made poor progress on, maybe a little progress on the mental emotional health in that she's meeting with her worker. And these children have a very high need for permanency. And I support heading to termination on both parents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Colletti?
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't believe reasonable efforts have been made. We're on our 5th caseworker now. I don't think Ms. Ackland is being given the credit for the progress she's made. She found housing on her own. She got counseling on her own. She did the recovery coach on her own. She asked for substance abuse tests. She has a job. She has a car. If jobs change and housing changes, that's normal, but she's always consistently been able to find a job and get housing. I think, Your Honor, another 3 months is needed to let her demonstrate that she can do it. She can be reunified. These children are with a relative. And I appreciate Ms. Kendrick. I appreciate that she's doing so much for these children. I appreciate that and I know Ms. Ackland appreciates it as well. But Your Honor, this is a court of reunification, not termination. It's only been 15 months. I would respectfully request that you not authorize the termination at this time and let Ms. Ackland have the time that she needs to get her children returned to her care. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Adams?
Your Honor, I would just place a general objection on the record against the termination, as I've not had any contact since the last shortly after the last hearing with my client. So I would just place that general objection on the record. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the statute, that returning these children, any of them, to either parent would cause a substantial risk of harm to the children's life, physical health, or mental well-being. I'm making that finding based on the lack of progress shown by the parents in this case, that these children should not be returned to either parent, that the agency should initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to these children, again, due to the lack of progress by either parent. I am acknowledging that Ms. Ackland has made some progress and that she's attending counseling, but there's so many other barriers at this point that she has not overcome. She can provide verification very easily of employment, of transportation, a signed lease, so many things that are simple to do that she's repeatedly not done. If it is true that she in fact has all of these things, that's on her, that's not on the agency. So I will find that reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for these children to safely return home, that those reasonable efforts for reunification be continued, that in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating the conditions that cause these children to be placed to remain in temporary foster care has not been made by either parent, that the children's continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting their needs. And it is very good to hear that these kids are all doing well. And I had 4 children myself, and I recognize the amount of work that is. And we've got 5 children in this case, all with significant needs, and we have a single foster parent here that's doing all the work. So I just want to make sure that the court recognizes how much work that is, and frankly, how much work it would be for these children to be returned to Ms. Ackland. That the needs of each of these children can be met in a foster family home. That reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court-approved permanency plan of return to a parent for each of these children. That permanency planning goal no longer is appropriate and should be a concurrent goal of reunification and adoption. What that means is that we'll be working towards both goals together. That the Department Foster Home or Institutional Placement has followed the reasonable and prudent parenting standard, and that the children have had regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities. The siblings are in joint placement, which is another positive in this case. The court orders that the children continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue their placement with the Department for Care and Supervision. That the adjudicated respondents, Mr. Ackland and Ms. Ackland, comply with and benefit from the case service plan. That parenting time of both parents is at the discretion of the agency to allow unsupervised or supervised parenting time by its designee. Continue the attorneys in this matter. And I am seeing that the court did order that a CASA be appointed to this case. Has anyone heard anything about that? All right, the court will follow up with that. Ms. Gibson, do we have a date for the termination hearing?
Yes, Your Honor, October 8th from 9 to 12. And do you want that by Zoom or in person?
In person. All right. And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That is my birthday. I really don't want to have a termination date on my birthday. Please.
Well, we're hoping you're getting another 3 months to work on this.
Okay.
But we can look. Ms. Gibson, do we have another date?
Yes, October 7th from 2 to 5.
Any conflicts with that date or time?
No.
Second.
All right. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.